How much do you trust your friends? Can you vouch for them? Do you believe any of them would hurt you or even go as far as plotting to kill you? We all share a bond of trust with our friends, letting them know our fears and secrets. Sadly for Sara Stern, this trust was betrayed because of money. The true crime story of Sara Stern is a haunting tale of a young woman whose life was tragically cut short. Sara was a beautiful, intelligent, and talented 19-year-old from Neptune City, New Jersey. She had her whole life ahead of her with aspirations of becoming a musician, but her dreams were shattered when she was murdered in cold blood by a person she had once considered a friend. Welcome to YARO Crime. Today, we'll be taking a look at the murder of Sara Stern. Before we continue, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with our latest videos. Now sit back as we take a look at the tragic murder of Sara Stern. Our story begins on December 3, 2016 at around 2 a.m. when the police received a call from an Uber driver reporting that there was an abandoned car on a bridge in Belmont, New Jersey. Upon arriving at the scene, the police discovered that the car was unlocked and that the keys were still in the ignition. This led the officers to wonder why the driver chose to abandon it on the bridge. Their first thought was that perhaps the driver of the vehicle had jumped off the bridge, but it wouldn't be long before they discovered that something far more sinister had happened. After running the plates, investigators discovered that the vehicle belonged to a 96-year-old woman named Lillian Stern. They immediately contacted Lillian, who informed them that the vehicle was mostly used by her 19-year-old granddaughter, Sara Lee Stern. Sara was born on March 24, 1997, to Carla and Michael Stern. She was a popular and outgoing girl, and she had her high school education at Neptune High School, where she was described as talented, smart, kind, and athletic. Her friends described her as always optimistic and happy. Her favorite quote was "Practice reckless optimism," and she would often encourage others to be themselves. Sara and her dad Michael shared a close bond, and this bond became even tighter after she lost her mother to cancer during her freshman year of high school. Sara always wanted to become a professional artist, and she dreamed of working in Toronto, Canada, as a professional artist. Sara had two best friends, Liam McAtasney and Preston Taylor. Sara met Liam in middle school, and they quickly bonded over their shared love of comic books, movies, and video games. Liam quickly became Sara's confidant and most trusted friend, and he was there to console and support her when she lost her mom. Although Preston and Sara were never as close as she was with Liam, he was still a friend she trusted, and he was even her date to junior prom. After finding her car abandoned, investigators began making enquiries around the town, trying to find out if anyone had seen Sara. They soon discovered that Liam was the last person Sara was seen with. When the investigators visited Liam to ask about Sara's whereabouts, he said that he and Sara had only spent the afternoon together before he went to work at 4:30 p.m., and that he hadn't seen nor heard from her since. Liam also claimed that Sara and her father had been having issues for a while, and that Sara had mentioned going to Canada. Sara's dad was away in Florida on vacation at the time, and when he received the news that his daughter was missing, he immediately knew that something was wrong. His suspicions began when his mother called him earlier to tell him that Sara was not replying to her calls. He knew that Sara loved her grandmother and would never ignore her calls. He had also tried texting Sara to know where she was and why her phone was turned off, but he never got a reply. The police started investigating Sara's disappearance and launched a massive air and sea search for her, involving the New Jersey Police Department, county agencies, and the U.S. Coast Guard. They searched the area around the bridge and the river, but they found no evidence of foul play. Scores of volunteers also searched the surrounding towns for weeks in hopes of finding Sara without success. The investigators soon had nothing else to go on, so they decided to talk to Liam again to get a better idea of Sara's state of mind around the time of her disappearance. Liam was very cooperative with the police and gave them answers to every question they asked. He repeated his claim that Sara might have run away to Canada as a result of the issues she was having with her dad. He also added that Sara had once talked about hurting herself. After talking to Sara's dad, investigators discovered that although Sara and her father may have had a few disagreements, they had a normal and perfectly healthy father-daughter relationship. This made the investigators quite suspicious of Liam's claims. However, before they got the chance to interview him again, his parents got him a lawyer who advised him to stop talking to the police. Seeing as they couldn't get information from Liam anymore, investigators turned their attention to his roommate Preston, in hopes that Liam may have told him something that could be helpful to the case. However, Preston only repeated everything that Liam had told the investigators already. Investigators then asked Preston what he thought happened to Sara, and his reply came as a surprise to the investigators. "I think she jumped," said Preston. When asked why he felt that she jumped, he said, "Just from the stories I've heard about what goes on with her and her dad." A month passed, and the investigators were not finding any new leads that could help them figure out what happened to Sara on December 3, 2016. They had searched virtually everywhere in an attempt to find her body, but still had nothing to show for it. They had also ruled out the possibility that Sara may have hurt herself, as everyone they had spoken to except Preston and Liam stated that she was in a good mood and couldn't have hurt herself. Then, in January 2017, there was a ray of light in the investigation. A guy named Anthony Curry, who was a former classmate of Sara, Liam, and Preston, went to the police and told them how on Thanksgiving of 2016, Liam had confided in him that Sara had found some money in a house owned by her family. Liam then told Anthony how he planned to kill Sara and take the money. He would kill her, throw her body over the bridge, and leave the car there to make it look like she jumped while he and Preston would get away in an escape car. Anthony was a filmmaker and was always in search of movie ideas, so when he had Liam's plan, he initially assumed that Liam was pitching him a fictional story for a movie, as he usually did. He had no way of knowing that Liam was actually telling him his plan to commit and get away with murder. Anthony found out that Sara was missing on social media, and Liam began to call him every day, saying they needed to talk. Liam also asked him if the police had questioned him about Sara's disappearance. It was at this point that Anthony began to suspect that something was not right and decided to go to the police. After listening to Anthony's statement, investigators asked him if he would help them get a confession from Liam, and he readily agreed. The plan was for Anthony to meet up with Liam and strike up a discussion about Sara while secretly recording the whole thing. When he met Liam was already aware that the police were onto him. Before entering Anthony's car to speak with him, he asked if he could feel Anthony up for a wire. Anthony readily agreed to this request because he knew the recording devices were hidden in the car and not on him. Now that he felt confident that his friend was not setting him up, Liam confessed everything, telling Anthony the details of how he committed this shocking crime. According to Liam's confession, he had planned to kill Sara for months. He believed that Sara had found a large sum of money and that she had hidden it somewhere in her house. Liam had tried to find the money by searching Sara's house, but he had not been successful. Liam then came up with a plan to kill Sara and steal her money. He enlisted the help of his friend, Preston Taylor, and they pretended to hang out with Sara on the night of her disappearance. They offered to help her move some boxes from her house, and she agreed. Once they got to Sara's house, they got to work moving boxes. When Sara was about to step out the front door, Liam sneaked up behind her, choked her, and dragged her into the house. They then dumped her body off the bridge into the river. Liam, McAtasney, and Preston Taylor were arrested and charged with Sara's murder. Liam was charged with first-degree murder, felony murder, robbery, conspiracy to commit robbery, tampering with evidence, and desecrating human remains. Preston was also charged with robbery, hindering apprehension, and desecrating human remains. Preston agreed to testify against Liam after pleading guilty to his charges and receiving a reduced sentence of 18 years in prison. In his testimony, Preston said that Liam had told him that Sara had the type of money that somebody would kill for. He also admitted that he had helped Liam dump Sara's body over the bridge in exchange for a share of the money, and showed investigators the places they went before disposing of Sara's remains. Liam was found guilty of all charges, and he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The murder of Sara Stone is a tragic reminder of the dangers of jealousy and greed. Liam and Preston's actions not only ended Sara's life, but also shattered the lives of her loved ones. Her friends and family will never forget her bright smile, her infectious laugh, and her love of music. But even in the face of such tragedy, Sara's memory lives on. Her friends and family have established a fundraiser in her name that supports local music programs and scholarships for students pursuing careers in music. They hope that Sara's passion for music will continue to inspire future generations. The true crime story of Sara Stone is a harrowing reminder of the darkness that can lie within human hearts. But it is also a testament to the power of love, hope, and community. Sara's memory will continue to shine brightly, and her legacy will live on through the lives of those she touched. May she rest in peace. Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think about this case in the comments, and please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you in the next video.